Tequila Hombre, and how does the whole thing...
welcome to this episode of Live from the Hombre Cave. What's going on here? Is my headphone not pushed in all the way? Volume sounds weird in my ears. It could just be because I'm still congested from being sick. How are you guys doing? Hopefully you're all having a great evening so far. Wow, I've been incredibly sick for the last 4 days. So I haven't really done much because of it. But I am feeling a little better. I'm not coughing nearly as much as I was on Friday. I thought it was just allergies because I was out playing golf in the wind in the afternoon there on Friday. But it ended up gripping me and just smacking the crap out of me. This bug, whatever it was that I got. It was so bad. I literally was just could sit on the couch with a blanket wrapped around me. So I'm not drinking any tequila tonight. I'm drinking water because I'm just at the tail end of this thing. I want to lick it before I start jumping in to tequila. But let's talk about a little bit what's been going on. I've been watching closely the fermentation that's going on our wine batch that we're doing, the Cabernet Sauvignon. And it's going well. You guys saw the video today. The fermentation was strong, which is good. And then Friday. Yeah, was it Friday? It was Friday. Friday, I started a Chardonnay batch for my wife. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do, because I had the kit come in. And I was like, I'll just go ahead and start the Chardonnay batch too. And we're going to do something cool with these now too. So keep watching the videos as I post about them, and we'll talk about them on the live streams and stuff. And then one thing cool too, on Thursday this week, we're going to do a live stream at 7. So we'll have Thursday and Friday this week. Thursday at 7, we're going to do a live stream, and we're going to have a winemaker on with us. His name's Dakota. He's really cool. He's out of a winery out here in Temecula called Gershon Bacchus. And they make really good red wines, but I was talking tequila and stuff with him when I was at the winery. And he's a really cool guy. So I say, hey, we come on and talk about winemaking stuff. We can talk about how the similarities are between tequila and wine, and you can talk about things. He's like, yeah, that'd be cool. So he's going to come on and he's going to talk to us about making wine, which I think's, really cool. It's, it's not necessarily a tequila distillery, but it's a lot of the same stuff that they do is pretty much identical all the way up until the distillation part. So it should be a really cool episode. So make sure you come 7:00 p.m. on Thursday and meet Dakota, ask him questions and stuff, and we'll talk about making wine. And then if you feel so inclined to, you can order some of their wine off their website too. I'll probably be drinking some of the wine, their wine, because I picked up some bottles when I was there. They make a really good Cab Franc. So I'm a big Cab Franc fan, so I'm going to probably be drinking the Cab Franc when I'm here talking to him on Thursday. So, all right, let's check in. Buenas nachos, hombre. Hey, Scott. Buenas noches to you too. Bienvenido. Welcome. Glad you can make it. Hello, hombre. Hope you're feeling better. Doesn't tequila kill viruses? Ha. Well, glad to see you. Yeah. It didn't kill this one, but thank you. I am feeling better. I'm feeling a lot better. You should have seen me a couple of days ago. It was horrible. I was just a blob mess on the couch with a blanket wrapped around me, a box of tissues, water, and these Fisherman Friends lozenges, which if you guys have never tried Fisherman's Friends, they're the best lozenges ever as far as like helping with coughs and stuff. So, hey, Jan, he said, what's up, everyone? I hope you're all doing great. We're doing great. Hopefully you're doing great. Winfred's like, hello, all. Hey, Winfred. Glad you can make it. Johnny E is, hey, hola, hombre. What's going on, everyone? Sipping on some Carrera Blanco. Nice. You can't go wrong with Carrera. I love that new Blanco. It's so good. Are you digging that? You're digging that new Blanco, right? It's so good. California is drinking Liquid Death. All right. Well, so you're drinking Clase Azul? Is that what you're saying? Beyond Barrels is here. Hola, bienvenido. Welcome. Glad you can make it. So, so let's talk a little bit about fermentation, because the fermentation that's going on right now is really cool. I'm going to do an episode for the Hombre channel just on fermentation. I think you guys are going to really like it because it'll get really in depth. A lot of people don't know this, you know, and they look at a distillery and they're like, oh, well, how can they change the flavor profile? All the tequila from that distillery is probably the same. No, it's not. It's easy to change the flavor profile. And what a lot of people don't realize is like 65% of the flavor profile of a tequila, it's like right around 65% comes from the fermentation. So if you mess up the fermentation and you don't ferment your tequila right, you're going to ruin your whole batch of tequila. You're not going to be able to pull anything good out of it, because basically when you go to distillation, distillation is pulling out everything that's made during fermentation, right? So people talk about having to have good agave. You have to have good agave, right? But you want to give the yeast something good to eat, right? Because then they can make something good out of it, right? So you want good agave, so that's important. So that's about 25%, you know, having good quality agave. 65% is your fermentation. You mess up the fermentation, it's probably even higher. I would even say it could probably be like 20, it's probably 65%. So 65% is fermentation. So you mess up the fermentation, you're pulling bad stuff out during the distillation. And then the rest of it, so that's why we said 35%, 5% is distillation on how well you do the cuts, right? And where you're doing the cuts from. Maybe more. Let me see. What did I say? 20%. 20% agave, 60% fermentation. Yeah, 20%. That works. 20% distillation, because you have to manage the cuts and do the cuts right in order to make sure you're not pulling out the methanol and stuff like that. But it's pretty easy once you get the cuts dialed in on what you need to do. But if you mess up the fermentation, you can run the cuts right and you're still pulling crap out of the still. So fermentation is really, really important. And that's one of the things that I learned a lot when I was into brewing beer. Here in California, it gets hot, right? It's hot in the summer. And when I used to brew beer, I used to just, put my wort in the garage and never really monitored the temperature in it and just would run it. And my beer was good. It tasted really good. I made really good beer. I won awards and stuff with it, but I went, I wonder how I can make this beer better. And so I learned the way to do that is through monitoring and controlling your fermentation, right? You're looking at the yeast you're using and then monitoring your temperature and your fermentation. So what I ended up doing is as a home brewer, a beer home brewer, is I ended up buying this huge 52-gallon Rubbermaid container, right? And I took the lid off the top of it. It had wheels on it, so it rolled. I filled it up with water. And then I would take a aquarium chiller and I'd run an aquarium chiller into it, and I'd set the temperature that I wanted to ferment on the aquarium chiller. And the aquarium chiller kept that water, no matter how hot it was outside, it kept that water at whatever temperature I wanted to ferment at. And then what I did is when I did my fermenting, I did it in a glass carboy, which is, it's like a glass water bottle. And so we put the wort in there and pitched the yeast into it. Of course, the wort's chilled when it comes out of the boil and stuff. So, and then you pitch the yeast into it, and then you put an airlock on top of it so you don't let air in and bacteria in, because it's all sanitized. And then you drop it into the water bath. And the water bath would keep that fermentation at whatever temperature I set it at. And when I started monitoring my temperatures on my fermentation, as well as controlling what yeast I used for the fermentation, I started getting really, really great beers then, to the point where I won a national championship with it. But I won so many gold medals and first places in so many competitions because how much my beer stood out above everybody else's, just because I really paid attention to what yeast I was using and what temperature I fermented at. Because that was the key. If I fermented out of the range that was good for that particular yeast, if it was too hot, it produced off flavors and would make the beer not as good. If I fermented too low, it wouldn't ferment thoroughly. There'd be some off flavors and stuff there too. So fermentation is key. And so monitoring temperatures and stuff is key. So we'll talk a little bit about that with tequila. Hey, everyone. Sorry, hey, no problem, Chris. Glad you can make it. What is that? Jan, you're spot on, buddy. Diablito Rojo is the best. Just finished my bottle. Also reorder. Yeah. Okay, good. What is this? Since you're on the wine theme, I just killed a bottle of Diablito Rojo. You're so right. It's probably the best XA I've ever had. Yeah. After every sip, I was just saying, wow. Exactly. That's the way I was when I did the review. And I love that it's a Cabernet Sauvignon. It's a Cabernet. It's a Napa Cab that thing's soaked in. So maybe we could take our Napa Cab, the wood out of the Napa Cab that we're doing, because I am using French oak to Beyond Barrel aging staves for the Napa Cab. And I can just pull those out and drop those in bottles to do a Diablito Rojo after I use a regular French oak in it. So yeah, I agree. It is really good. I'm surprised it wasn't sold out yet. The price dropped $50. So you guys, if you guys want it, you can get it for $50 less than what the retail price was. But yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't sold out. I have several bottles. I got a few bottles of it. So get it if you haven't got it yet. It's worth it. It's worth the money. I mean, because it's like super, super special. So I'm just waiting for it to click. And once it clicks, I know people will buy out the rest of it, but it'll get there. Once the word gets out, everyone's too busy talking about Fortaleza right now. And so it's kind of like a secret thing. That's kind of cool. But I know once people start talking about it, it'll go quick, and then people will be complaining that they didn't have it and it's been available for a while. Same's gonna happen with it always happens. Look, with the El Tesoro 85th anniversary, it'll be there. People aren't buying it for a while, and then once it sells out, people will be like, "Whoa, I wanted to get it now." Everyone's talking about how great it is. It's like, well, it's been there for 6 months. You should have bought it when you had the chance. This is Scott. I just ordered another one. Also, I think we have an expensive habit. Yeah, but it's damn good. That's for sure. Yeah, it is. Excuse me. I apologize in advance for any weird noises that I make due to this sickness still being here, but I'll try my best to control it. All right, so we're talking about fermentation, right? So people are wondering how distilleries can control the different flavor profiles and stuff. All they have to do really is change the temperature of the fermentation. And that's one of the things that we did with Carrera on that Tequila Hombre edition, the Blanco, the Lote CTB 045, is we fermented at a lower temperature. We did. And it really made a huge difference. It's fermented in the springtime at a low temp. So it created some nicer flavors and wasn't as thin as the original one was. And it turned out amazingly. It turned out amazingly good, to the point where everyone's now clamoring for the CTB 045 Blanco, which we keep selling by the case. That people are buying it by the case now that the word's gotten out how good it is. So it will sell out soon, I'm sure. But we do have the 54% coming in, and we'll order some more of the 45 batch to come in to ferment and still. So we'll get some more, but it's selling quickly now. And really, the only difference that we did is that on the fermentation, that we lowered the temp. Did it at a lower temperature, and they did a big batch in spring when the temperature was mild. And it produced a lot better results with the yeast they were using. The yeast was more of a colder fermenting yeast, and it produced amazing results. And that's the thing too, is you look at some of the stuff like Vivanco and Associates, right? They use champagne yeast a lot, and so with champagne yeast, they can go at a lower temperature. So when Sergio Cruz uses champagne yeast, he likes to do it at 10 centigrade, which is 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And he says he gets the best results at it when it's fermented at 50 degrees. And of course, during the fermentation process, the yeast produces carbon dioxide, alcohol, and heat. So you have to kind of keep an eye on the fermentation because it will heat itself up. So you want to make sure you kind of keep it an eye on it and make sure it's maintaining a good temperature. And that's one of the reasons why they like to use stainless steel a lot, because if it's the cold outside, the stainless steel will take that cool, and it will keep the fermentation cool. And then when it's warm, it needs to be warm. It'll keep it warm too. So, but it helps maintain the temperature. It's better. You can adjust the temperature and stuff easier on it when you're using stainless. If you put a water jacket around it and pump hot water through it, there's all kinds of things you can do like that to maintain the temperature. So, is this all interesting to you guys? I mean, are we learning anything, or am I just spewing a bunch of crap about fermentation because I think it's cool? Is this of interest to you guys? Do you want to learn about fermentation? I don't know. I could just be spewing stuff. For me, I geek out on stuff like this. I love it. And so that's one of the things that kind of makes me different than a lot of the other guys out there that are like, ooh, well, let's see. Today we're going to look at this tequila. Yeah, smooth. Buy it. It's good. I give it a rating of 8.5 out of 10. And I just can't do that. I'm more of like, okay, here's why this is good, and this is information about it, and this is so that you geek out on it. This is what they did, and this is the process they use. This is what makes it different, and so you're okay. You're enjoying learning. Okay, you hope you're. I'm sure you don't worry. I will keep reminding, and well, I'll do a video on fermentation because I think it's cool. It's fun. And then if you guys want to try to make wine at home too, you can do that. And I've always enjoyed making my own alcohol here. And I did it when I was brewing beer. There was times I had 200 gallons of beer in the garage. I was brewing so much. I used to have a home brew club that I started, and we grew it to 150 members. And we were one of the top brew clubs in Southern California. Some of the brewers that I trained in my brew club went on to work at, and start breweries and stuff. And so when we made good stuff, so there's times where I was in my garage, working, brewing beer, and I'd have all my neighbors come over with mugs, and we're tapping beer off the fridge and stuff. And for me, the social aspect was a lot of fun, but the chemistry, the biochemistry, and stuff like that was always really interesting to me on, what happens, for example, we talk about yeast cells, right? In the fermentation, a yeast cell gets too hot, it works too hard, it explodes. When it explodes, it blows all this stuff that you don't want in your whatever it is you're fermenting, and produces off flavor, sour notes, bitter notes, things that you don't want in it. And so that's why watching the temperature and making sure that the yeast is healthy, has the right amount of fuel and energy that it needs, and nutrients that it needs, and it's at the right temperature, that it gets oxygen, because it needs oxygen in order for it to do its thing. All of that's important stuff. Classical music during fermentation. That's a thing. They do that. I honestly, I don't think it has anything to do with the yeast itself. I think it has to do more as an agitator. Because I don't think yeast can't hear anything. They feel, and I don't think it's because they feel the vibration, because if you ever see a fermentation, it's active. It's moving. It moves because the yeast actually swim around inside the tank. But what I think it does is when they have that classical music cranked up, it's so loud inside when they're blasting it that it causes vibration and acts as an agitator a little bit. I think that's the only thing. I think if they were to turn the classical music off, they'd still get really great results out of it. I don't think it makes that big of a difference. But they do play it, and they do think it works, and if they want to play it and think it works, then go for it, I never ran classical music during any of my fermentations, and I made amazing beers enough that I won a gold medal in the national homebrew competition. So, but I can sing to them, and that might produce off flavors though if I did that. I saw the video you posted earlier showing the barrel. Pretty cool stuff. I like molds, spores, and fungi. So it's very interesting learning how we use stuff like that to make foods and medicines. Yeah. But yeast is more of a single cell organism. It's not really spores and stuff. But yeast is kind of an interesting character in itself. And you can learn too when you if you've ever drank a young beer that's just been like fermented and stuff and just got out of the fermenter, you have to be really careful because you get what's called the yeasties, and the yeasties are really bad because when you get yeast into your digestive tract, it will process the sugars and stuff that comes into your digestive tract and produce methane gas. It's CO2. So you end up singing through the other end of your body, and it can be kind of embarrassing and uncomfortable at times. So you can always tell when somebody had drank a young beer when we were doing all the brewing stuff, because there's still some yeast cells in it that all haven't dropped out yet, and you can smell that somebody drank some young beer. So yeasties can wreak havoc on your digestive system stuff. So you have to be careful with that. One of the things that yeast does, when you pitch your yeast normally, like for example, for the wine, I didn't pitch it at the total amount of yeast needed. So what happens is you pitch it at a lower count and the yeast goes on top of the surface of the wine. You saw me when I sprinkled it in the winemaking video. When you sprinkle it on, it sits on top of there first, and then it then rehydrates, right? It hydrates. And then it goes, oh crap, look, there's all this sugar here. What are we going to do? We need help. And so it starts splitting. They split, their cells split, and they create more yeast cells. And the first day is basically, or first 5 hours maybe, is the yeast splitting and creating enough cells to start processing all this sugar. And then it goes bloop and it starts diving down into the must, or the mosto, or the wort in beer, in the case of beer. And it starts eating the sugars and going crazy. It needs oxygen, so you want to make sure you stirred it up first and agitated it to get oxygen into it. What I used to do is I used to take a wand up to an oxygen tank and pump fresh CO2 into the wort before I pitched the yeast. That way I knew there was plenty of oxygen in suspension for it. And then it swims around and it starts eating up all this sugars and stuff and creating alcohol and carbon dioxide gas. So you see the bubbles and stuff. You saw the bubbles there on the side of the yeast things on the top there. It's creating a gas in there. It's creating CO2 gas. And so all that gas is coming out, and then all the yeast are swimming around. You can literally sit there if you use a glass carboy and see them swimming around inside, eating all the sugars, and they're happy as happy can be. They're ecstatic. So then after they're going through eating up all the sugars and there's no more sugars left, they then say, okay, well, it's time for us to go to sleep. Night, night. And they go to sleep and they drop to the bottom of the fermenter. They drop out. And so it ends up clearing out whatever it was you fermented. And then you'll see a big sediment at the bottom of the fermenter. And that's typically when you go to a brewery or something, you'll see the fermenter comes to a cone. And then there's a lever that releases a hatch at a certain point. And so they can actually, and then there's a siphon spigot that comes out above where the cylindrical part is, or the cone, where the cone is. So cone comes up and then it goes to a big body. So there's, at the top of that cone, there's a spigot, and that's where they'll take all the beer out, or wine or whatever. It's above the yeast bed, where the yeast bed should be. So when they can do that, then they can pump the yeast into a bucket, and they can take that yeast, pull some cells out if they want to reduplicate the same flavor profile, and then use those to create more yeast cells to pitch in the next batch. So that's how they can continue using and creating the same flavor profiles using the same yeast, is they just keep reusing the yeast and just creating new cells fresh cells off of it, and then pitching that into the next batch. So when they use wild yeast, they actually will take the agave and they look for yeast cells in the lab on the agave. And they'll pull those yeast cells out, and then they grow them in agar or sugar water or whatever, grow them out, and then they'll use that and pitch that and use that as their yeast. But they do a lot of testing with yeast cells and stuff. So they know what yeast cells work out of their fields and stuff. And so they'll propagate a yeast that they like and pitch that in. And so when you see, like, we went to El Tiqueleño, as Mosto's rolling out of the roller mill into their big vat, you then see the spigot open up and the big bunch of yeast gets dumped into it that they propagated up in the lab, and they put that into there. So that yeast is good with that agave, and it's going to start the fermentation process. And then they have ceramic tanks that are really well insulated for the temperature wise, and it's inside a building that's temperature controlled. So they keep the temperature where they need to keep it at. And then it's in the same room as the still, so they just pump it straight from after the fermentation's done, it gets right into stills. So we've been talking all this stuff about fermentation. The next thing we're going to do with this wine, which I think will be kind of fun, and we can talk to Dakota about it, is we're going to do a malolactic fermentation on it, because malolactic fermentations in wine are beautiful, especially with the Chardonnay. We're going to definitely do a malolactic, but malolactic's also good for reds. And so for Cabernet Sauvignon, it's good that we do a red, that we do a malolactic on the red, because it'll benefit it nicely. So we can talk to Dakota about that more and what he uses malolactic for, malolactic fermentation, when we talk to him on Thursday. So at your age, yeah, I already have that problem too, but shh. My wife's like, oh my God, it's like, no, it's okay. All right, so I went off on fermentation. It was kind of fun for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. So what questions, what do you guys want to talk about today? Oh, I did have a new tequila show up today here to the Hombre Cave. Now that all the serious tequila people are still here, let's here, I'll show you before I show you the bottles, I'll just show you the box and stuff that they send it to me. New tequila brand. Showed up to the Hombre Cave for a review. There you go. It's called Santaleza. From the soil to your very first sip, we consider everything. Welcome to your sanctuary. My sanctuary is the Hombre Cave, but it's now in my sanctuary, so I'm excited. It says on the side, Santaleza tequila pays homage to the origins of the delicate artisan spirit-making process, a sanctuary for those who enjoy the pure art of craft tequila. Agave Azul Tequila Jalisco. There you go. And then inside, they did some cool marketing stuff. I like the box. What does it say? A vision of tradition and excellence unlike any before. And I got a note from my friend Christy. She said, Mark, from soil to sip, we took a great care with each step. Excited for you to be among the first to try Santaleza. Cheers, Christy. There you go. It's my friend Christy. This is her brand. And so she sent me the Blanco. Come on, focus. Here we go. Over my face, then in focus. Watch. There it goes. the Blanco, and the Repo. There you go. So I'll be reviewing these probably tomorrow, depending on how I feel. I'll get them done this week. I'll get all the production details and stuff and let you guys know. I know it's made at Casa San Matias. So I know they do good stuff, and I think it's done. From what I understand, they use the Taona, the Casa San Matias Taona distillery. So they have two distilleries at Casa San Matias. They have the big distillery, and they have a small one that they use just for their Taona product, which I love the Taona product from them. So it's really good. So I will do a review on that and let you guys know. I have a Ricea on its way in too, which I'm excited about. They contacted me, wanted to send me a bottle. So for those of you that are like, say, hey, let's dive some more into other agave spirits, we'll have a Ricea, and then I have a Destilado de Agave. It's basically an uncertified mezcal that a friend of mine is created. It's a brand he created, and it's out of San Luis Potosi. It's going to be really good. He's also going to come on the Hombre Cave and talk to us about his brand and about his passion of working with mezcals and Destilados de Agave. So that'll be cool. So we'll have him on as a guest. So we're going to have some cool people coming on here on the Hombre Cave, stopping by the Hombre Cave to say hi and talk to us. So I hope you guys are all excited about that. And if you are, click that thumbs up button, give me a like, and let me know that you're excited about that. And we'll bring more cool guests on too. I'll even see if Felipe Camarena wants to come on and talk to us. You guys want to talk to him? Or maybe Guillermo? I'm sure Guillermo would come on if I asked him. I just never asked him. Guillermo Salza, the guy that owns Fortaleza. I'm sure he would come on if I asked him. So what else do you guys want to talk about? I mean, I just wasted 30 minutes talking about fermentation, giving you guys a science class. Your homework for tonight is to read up on the yeast cultures and no, I'm joking. No, but if you guys want to do wine, make your own wines too. It's cool. You don't have to just drink tequila all the time. We're going to be talking about wines on here. So if you're a wine person, it'll be fun. This isn't just going to be about tequila here. So I'm a big red wine person. So we're going to be talking about some red wines and winemaking. We'll talk about bourbon. I mean, we'll talk about all kinds of stuff here. I'm kind of an equal opportunist when it comes to doing cool things here in the Hombre Cave. The Tequila Hombre channel, that's going to be strictly tequila stuff. But we're going to mix it up and talk about all kinds of things, even Legos. I mean, I have a Lego city in the garage, and cigars. We're going to start getting into more cigar stuff. I would have started doing cigar content this week, but because I was sick, I just haven't been doing any cigar stuff. So yeah, how are your aging projects coming along too? You guys let me know about your aging projects. So I just saw this comment from Crow. Yeah, I'm almost 1 week in with my French Oak number 3 and G4 Blanco. It changed color pretty quickly. I'm going to let it go for 4 to 6 weeks. I'm going to try it once a week to see the difference. Okay, good. That's good. I'm glad you're doing that, and I'm glad you're excited about it, and that's cool. I'm using the Beyond Barrel aging staves for the wine. Because they come with oak chips and stuff in the wine kits, but I like the better quality wood with the aging staves. So I'm actually going to be tossing aging staves into the wine to age it, and using a better quality wood for that, and having a better quality wine because of it. So I'm excited about that. I got a bunch of staves now, and I'm going to use it to age the wine. So you don't just have to do tequila with it. You can use it for all kinds of things: cocktails, wines, beer. You want to age a beer, you can age a beer. Anything you want to age, you can use these. Anything that you normally put in a barrel, you want to do age a mezcal or a gin or vodka or a rum, anything, a sherry, a port, whatever you want to do. You can do that. So that Chuck Cowdery one really goes into fungus stuff. Chuck Cowdery. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what Chuck Cowdery is. So, what else do you guys want to talk about while we're here? I mean, we're chilling. It's the Hombre Cave. We're making wine, which is kind of cool. Any questions about stuff? Anybody else want to make a wine? You'll learn a lot about fermentation by doing it. Seriously. Okay, I love California cabs also. Any recommendations? Yeah, absolutely. What kind of, I mean, do you want to make a wine? Or you just want to buy bottles? Because you can make a wine. I can recommend a really good Cabernet California Cab wine kit. That's what I'm doing. And you can order it online and make it yourself. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. So, I was telling a customer about aging their wine with the staves. I'm going to age a whiskey with the next order of staves. Oh, cool. Yeah, what whiskey are you going to order? You're going to age. Yeah, I can recommend a good kit if you want a kit on if you want to make your own California cabs. Or if you're talking about buying Cabernets. Just the bottles. Smith and Hook is a nice full-bodied cab. Yeah, Smith and Hook's good. There's a lot of good ones out of Sonoma, which is right next to Napa Valley. There's some good Napa cabs too. The gentleman that we have coming on Thursday, they do cabs. They specialize in cabs. The Cab Franc is their main. I can show you the bottle. It's called Gerson and Bacchus. All right, so these are the two that I got from Gerson Bacchus, Wine of the Gods. This is VVTR, Via Vino Tutta Rese, red wine. This one's really good. I enjoyed this one a lot. That's why I bought a couple bottles of it. Here, let me block my face so you can see it here. There you go. And then this one, I believe, is the Cab Franc. What does it say? Yeah, this is the Cab Franc. This is an estate Cab Franc. This is a... oh, here you go. I told you the mixtures on the back. Okay, so this one is a... This is a 40% Grenache, a 20% Petite Syrah, and a 20% Merlot, and a 2% Cabernet Franc. So this is a nice blend, blend. I really enjoyed this one. This is a full Cabernet Cab Franc here. So this one is the Erato from Gerson Bacchus, and this is 100% Cab Franc. This one's delicious. I really like this one a lot. What is that? We'll be pulling my stave number 3 French oak from G4 after 4 weeks. Tastes great. Okay, good. Awesome. Cherry or American white medium if you want to go crazy. Chard just a tip, like 1/8 in a fire. Okay, there you go. Carrera Blanco Beyond Barrel number 3, French Oak, 2 weeks only, light color change. We'll be letting it go longer, definitely. Okay, what did you think about the flavor profile, though? Either or both, thank you. Okay, cool. Well, I can tell you the kit that I got. Let me see if I can find a picture of it, and I'll put it up. This is what I'm making, and it comes with the grape skins too, so it's like actually doing it at a winery. All right, here it goes. Where is it? Oh, it's fine. Okay. Here it is. Let me get a picture of it here so I can post it up. You can order it online. There's no pictures of it anywhere. Oh, I don't want that. I want. There we go. That's why. Okay, here we go. Here's the, I'll post the link here on the chat for the wine kit. There you go. So it's California Cabernet Sauvignon winemaking kit, signature series from Vineco. It actually comes with the grape skins and stuff in there and everything you need, yeast, everything's included. Only thing you need to do is get like a 6-gallon fermenter bucket and water and a spoon to stir, and you can buy a beginning winemaking kit. It'll have everything you need. Then you need a glass carboy for racking it off later. But it's probably $100 worth of the beginner stuff, and then like say $179 for the kit. So it's $300 for your first batch. And you'll net probably about 30 bottles of really good wine out of it. So I'm looking forward to that. So I did a Chardonnay and then a Cabernet Sauvignon. I'm a big red fan. My wife likes the Chardonnay, and we're going to make the Chardonnay so it's like Rombauer for her. She loves Rombauer. So I'm thinking about using a French oak stave and a cherry wood stave in the same bottle, one after the other. I wouldn't do that. It'd be a waste of the cherry wood stave. A cherry wood stave's not gonna change the flavor that much. The French oak's gonna overpower the cherry wood, and cherry wood's not gonna add anything to that. Cherry wood, when it goes through, it basically tastes like American oak, but it's just softer. So I wouldn't do that. If you're going to use cherry, use it by itself and just let it go. That's been my experience with it. I'm soaking one of the staves in Glendalough double barrel Irish whiskey. They age it first in bourbon barrels and finish it in Olosco sherry barrels. Then I'll put the stave into the other G4 Blanco. Okay. I haven't tried to taste testing. We'll let you know Friday. Okay, cool. Are you gonna make sure you come on Thursday and listen to the winemaker? If you're a big California Red fan, that's what he specializes in. So he's going to be an interesting guest to have. I think we're going to learn a lot from him. Okay, thanks for the heads up. You're welcome. All right, you guys, if you like the information I'm sharing, click that thumbs up button. Give me a like right now. Click that like button. Give me a like. It doesn't cost anything. But we're talking about some cool stuff today. Fermentation's really cool stuff. Somebody had asked me about talk about autoclaves too. So I'm going to do some stuff on autoclaves because autoclaves has got a really bad reputation. It doesn't deserve it. People think autoclave produces bad tequila, but it really it doesn't. It produces just as good tequila as any brick Horno, or even better, because there's no off flavors and stuff coming from it, because it's a lot easier to clean, to the point that a lot of the brick Hornos now are using stainless steel metal sheets to line the inside of their brick Hornos now, because they can't clean all the junk out of the grout of the stone and brick. So they get that residual stuff. It can make for weird flavors and stuff that come through it. Sometimes if you walk into these brick Hornos, they stink because they don't really do a really good job of cleaning them, and you're like, it's like a really bad funk smell inside of them. You're like, ugh. But with the autoclaves, because it's stainless steel, they clean up real easy, and they use like a food grade cleaner to clean them out, and they're pristine clean inside. So isn't Tears your own extra? Yes, it's made using an autoclave. Yes, absolutely. But you know, Tears isn't. Everyone thinks Tears is like this amazing extra neo. It's not. It really isn't. It's okay. It's a blend of a bunch of different ones that are coming out of different barrels. But it's not. It's not that great, because it's, you know, you want a better extra neo. Get the Excelencia from Tapatio. That's one of the best extra neos on the market, because you can actually taste the agave on that. You can't taste the agave on Tears. Tears tastes like scotch. It tastes like sherry and brandy. I mean, it's, you want to try a Blanco using what method? Using an autoclave? High temperature or low? Well, they're all high temperature. They're all done at the same temperature. It's just whether it's under pressure or not. And even under pressure, you know, let's talk a little bit about autoclaves. Okay, let's do that right now. We got what? We got 10 minutes. All right. Autoclave, all an autoclave is, it's the same thing as a brick Horno. It's the same, excuse my French, same, here we go, ready? Same thing. It's the same thing. Same thing as a brick Horno. Same thing. There's only difference is that it's a cylinder made of stainless steel. Otherwise, it'd be the same freaking thing. Everyone gets all excited about autoclaves. They have a steam generated boiler that makes steam, right? That same boiler power can power a brick Horno, or it can power an autoclave. It's the same freaking thing. The only difference is the autoclave is a cylinder, right? And they can close an autoclave up, and they can seal it, and they can pressurize it. And when they pressurize it, they can cook in a fraction of the time that it takes to cook when it's not pressurized. Non-pressurized, under zero pressure, it takes about 20 hours to cook the agave. They pressurize it. It's using the same steam. It's just pushing it further into the batch, you know, into the agave. It can cook it in 8 hours. El Tequileño makes great tequila, and they use high pressure autoclaves. They cook for 8 hours. That's the only thing. It's the only thing. It's the only difference. It uses the same fuel, steam. It just has a stainless steel shell around it, and they can pressurize it. But the same fuel, it's steam. It's steam. They're not using microwaves. They're not hitting it with nuclear radiation or anything that's going to cause it to taste any different than cooking it with steam. It's steam. That's it. They turned this into a boogeyman, and it's not. It's like, ooh, autoclave. It's not as good as a brick Orno. No, it's just as good, if not better. And when you look at what people have done, like, for example, Sophie Deckbeck, right? When she was looking to find out a distillery for making her Calle 23, she tested Ornos and she tested autoclaves. And the flavor profile out of an autoclave was a lot truer. It was a lot more just cooked agave. So they went the autoclave, and they used an autoclave for hers. All right. El Mexicano, which I'll be reviewing their tequila. That's the Benuelos family. They're the ones that made Cazadores in the beginning before they sold it to Bacardi, and Bacardi turned it into crap. They, at their distillery, El Mexicano Distillery, they have brick Ornos and they have autoclaves. And they do extensive testing with both of them and found the autoclave produced a better flavor profile. So they used the autoclave on the majority of their tequilas. They used the Orno on one of them where they wanted to use the Orno. It's all steam. There's nothing different to it besides the fact that they can pressurize it. But pressurizing it only just cooks it faster. That's it. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing off. There's nothing bad about it. It's nothing inferior about it at all. It's all steam. If they could pressurize those brick Ornos and cook it in half the time, they would do it. But they can't because it's got all the vents and stuff on the top of it. They can't pressurize it. But it's the same freaking thing. They're both Ornos. One's made of brick, one's made of stainless steel. That's the only difference. They're both Ornos. They're both ovens. Now, when you talk about diffusers, that's a completely different animal. Diffusers don't cook. There's no cooking. There's no cooking in agave at all with diffusers. And that's what's bad about them. They take the raw agave and they toss it into the diffuser and they blast it with water and stuff, extract the starches from the agave fibers and stuff by blasting it with water, stripping all the starches and stuff out, and then they convert the starches to sugars using either acid or hot water in a boil afterwards. There's no cooking the agave. So in order for a tequila to taste good, you have to cook the agave first. You have to. Otherwise, it just doesn't turn out right. It doesn't cook right. It doesn't taste right. They're stripping everything out of it first, right? They're not just stripping sugars. They're stripping everything out of it and then trying to convert it using acid. Or what they do is they'll pump the sludge out of the diffuser into an autoclave that's turned up on its side, in which they turn the autoclave into a boiler. They pump steam into the autoclave and it boils the water. And once it hits a certain temperature, then the hydrolysis happens where it converts the starches to sugars. That's the only difference. Autoclaves make great tequila. There's nothing wrong with it at all. There's lots of great Blancos and Repos and Yeos that are made with autoclaves. Lots of them. There's no difference. No difference. The only difference is you'll get a cleaner agave flavor out of an autoclave than you will out of an Orno, because all the residual stuff that's in the Orno. So if you want complexity, yeah, you'll get some interesting flavors off the remnants and the grout and stuff that are going to come out with your agave and stuff that you cook in there. You have a better chance of burning inside a brick Orno than you do inside an autoclave. Because with an autoclave, you can pressurize it and you can run the pressure evenly throughout the entire autoclave. That's why it cooks faster, right? Because normally what happens in a brick Orno is you're pumping the steam in, and normally it's from the bottom. They pump the steam in and it's got to heat up from the outside in, right? And so it's got to just kind of heat up the pile first. And so you're cooking the bottom ones first and then heating it up, through the pile of agave, from the outside in, where when you do it with an autoclave, you can control so that the heat's the same all the way around, and when you pressurize it, it forces it evenly in through the entire pile, so it cooks faster. That's why. That's the only difference. In a brick Orno, you gotta, you get some that get charred, they get burnt, they get cooked a little too much on the bottom or on the sides, wherever you're pumping the steam in through. That typically you have some too that are sitting on the wooden grates that end up getting a little charred too much, or the metal grates on the bottom. So you end up getting some that get cooked too much, where with an autoclave, it's you get more of an even cook. What is this? Yes. Okay. Yes, definitely will be here. We'll be there. Definitely Thursday. Okay, good. That's good. Sounds like a giant. It's exactly what it is. It's a pressure cooker. Except with a pressure cooker, you put the heat source on the bottom. You fill it up with water, and you put the heat source on the bottom, and you heat the pressure cooker up, right? In this scenario, you're pumping steam into it. The steam's already hot. So how do they heat the steam? Fossil fuels? Yes, fossil fuels. It's this black goopy stuff that they use as fuel. It's one of those big industrial boilers, and they have this black, like, oil stuff that they burn inside of it that warms up the water and creates the steam. So they are using fossil fuels. Gonna have to change your name to Professor Hombre. Okay. Well, that's what I've always been about, is teaching you guys. So don't, when you hear somebody talking about an autoclave tequila, don't step in and say it's autoclave, it's going to be inferior, because it's not true. It's not true. Some of the best tequilas are made with autoclaves. Everything out of 1146, right? Artenam Seleccion 1146, Don Fulano, Pura Sangre. Everything that comes out of there is all autoclave cooked. They have huge 300-ton autoclaves in there. I think they have, 6 of them. Huge. They're massive. El Mexicano uses autoclaves. Who else uses El Tequileno's got like 5 really big autoclaves that they use, and they make great tequila. El Tequileno's great stuff. There's a bunch of distilleries using autoclaves now. Arete uses autoclaves, and they have a brick Orno. They built the brick Orno for the Suave line, but they still use their autoclaves. Hey, Ray Elizondo. Glad you can make it. Bienvenido. Welcome. All right, so how about giving me a like for all this information I'm sharing you guys? Click the thumbs up button. Give me a like. I went off on a tangent on autoclaves. Hopefully, those of you that were... Arete. Did I say Arete? I don't know what I said. Hopefully I said Arete. But Arete's got it. Yeah, they built it Orno for the Suave line, but Arete has autoclaves. And they started with autoclaves. There's nothing wrong with them. There's this whole big misconception that there's something off or something wrong, or they don't produce as good tequila. Cascanes is autoclave. It's all 100% autoclave. High pressure, too. I got an argument with somebody about, it's not high pressure. Anything under pressure is considered high pressure in the tequila world. And they cook in 8 hours. So they do an 8-hour cook. It's a fast cook. It's not a 16 to 20-hour cook like those that use no pressure at all. Normally, a low pressure autoclave means there's no pressure. It's not under pressure at all. In which case, it's 16 to 20-hour cook time, because it's got to heat everything up, where when you use a pressurized, it circulates the heat. The heat's compacted around, and it cooks everything faster into the middle. The only tequila I tell people to avoid is Celebrity Tequila or Clase Azul. I still want to try some just to taste for myself, but I won't buy a bottle. Yeah, well, I wouldn't tell people not to buy Celebrity Tequila, because that's just that's another thing too that kind of irritates me. what's wrong with buying celebrity tequila? If it's good, why not? What does it matter who owns it? Some guy today was like, I would never buy it because, I wouldn't. It was Santo from Sammy Hagar. And they're like, I would never, because, I didn't want to put more money in his. The dude's got enough money. He's not making bank off his freaking tequila, all right? His tequila is a passion project for him. He was one of the first celebrities to get into the tequila world, and he did it right with his Cabo Wabo line. The original Cabo Wabo was amazing stuff. It was great. And then when he sold it, it went to shit. It's crap now. But the original Cabo Wabo, I can show you the bottles. These bottles are good. If you find these bottles when you're out hunting, buy them. They're good. Hold on. Here's one old one, a Cabo Wabo. Look at that. You see a bottle like that on a shelf, buy it. It's good. Good stuff. The new stuff's not so good. This is good stuff. This was out of NOM. Which one was this? 1467. It was good. This is very good. There's another one too, cartoon. Let me see if I have the. I think I have a bottle of that one. Hold on. This Cabo Wabo, also really good. If you find these on the shelves, buy them. Good stuff. This one is out of 1426. Yeah, this is good. This is the same distillery that makes the Zunia. I think that's them, right? Yeah, Agaveros Unidos. Yeah, that's the same distillery that makes Azunia, which is, they made the original Cabo Wabo. That's good stuff. So it's good. So don't bash on celebrities, because there's celebrities that are doing it right. At least Sammy Hagar and Guy Fieri are. The Santo Fino line's good. It's good. And I know the guy that makes their tequila for him, Juan Eduardo, and he does very good work. And I drink his tequila all day long. It's solid. So Santo Fino, the Blanco, the Repo, I haven't known. Do they have any Añejo out? I haven't even seen if they have any Añejo out. I like it. I have a bottle of the Blanco and the Repo up on my shelf. I like it. So don't be bagging on celebrities, man. Back off. Yeah, Malavita, that's great too. And he's the drummer from Maná. I had him on live stream on the YouTube channel, on the Tequila Hombre channel. You should watch him and listen to what he says too, because you can learn a lot from him. Hey, you're welcome, California. Thanks for coming, tuning in. But yeah, Malavita's good. I had him on the show, and we had a really good live stream. So make sure you check that up on the Hombre channel. Juan Lobo, he's not really I wouldn't really put him as a celebrity. He's just a musician, because everyone will go, John Wolfe, who's he? He's not a huge celebrity. He's just a country singer that's trying to make his way, but he's small time. I wouldn't consider him a celebrity. Another celebrity, their tequila's okay. It's not great, but it's the Flecha Azul with the golfer and then Mark Wahlberg. That one's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. If you're in a pinch and stuff, there's no reason why you can't pick that up. But don't bag on celebrities. It's bag on the tequila itself and the distilleries that make it. Don't pick on the owners just because they're celebrities. Seriously, let's show a little respect for the people making it. Now, for the ones that don't deserve respect, like 818 or whatever, they don't deserve the respect, because the people that make it threw crap at him and knew they were throwing crap at him. You know, the Casa Maestris just makes a pile of crap, and so does Cofradia. They do a bunch of crap tequilas that they just throw additives in and stuff to change the flavor profiles and sell it to contracts, and they've gotten big in the contract side of things. So don't pick on celebrities. Celebrity tequila, some celebrity tequila is fine. I know it's popular to pick on the celebrities, but not all of them are bad. And I would put Santo Fino up against some of the other tequilas that are not celebrity owned out there, and I'm sure it would come out ahead of them. So it's a generalization that I'm not a big fan of. All right, I'm stepping off my soapbox. But Juan Lobo is a good tequila, and so is what's not bad too is the number one. That's not bad. It's not bad tequila at all. It's definitely drinkable, definitely sippable. It's enjoyable. It's not amazing, but it's good. Santo is really good. I enjoy the Santo. It's very clean, very nice, well-made tequila. They did good on that one. And Sammy's always been a purist. He never puts additives and stuff in his stuff. And he's always been a purist from the beginning, and he did it right when he came out with the original Cabo Wabo line, the original stuff, before he sold it, and they turned it to garbage. I want to drink this now. It's so good. This stuff is so good. This cork's a little loose, though. I hope it's not evaporating on me. All right. Any other questions? Any other comments? Anything we talk about before we just end this? We're already an hour and 8 minutes into it, so yeah. Hopefully you guys learned some stuff tonight, and I need to do a Q&A with the Hombre, but I think I'm going to move the Q&A with the Hombres here to this channel and do them here instead of on the Tequila Hombre channel. So you guys think we should add a Wednesday Q&A with the Hombre? Are you guys up for that? Comment yes if you want to do that, and we'll just do it. It'll just be straight Q&As. So all I'll be there to do is answer questions, and we can do that one like on the afternoon or something on Wednesday, like a 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Will that work for people, or noon? Here for Q&A with the Hombre. I used to do them on the Tequila Hombre channel. They were big, but people complain about having to comb through the live stuff to get to the reviews. So I was figuring we just keep the Hombre channel focused on reviews, and we'll do all the Q&As and informational stuff here on this channel, as well as other things too, other cool content stuff. What do you think? That's your new day off, Wednesday? Okay, so heck yeah. All right. Let's not do it this week. We'll start it next week, next Wednesday. But because since we have a live stream on Thursday with the winemaker, with Dakota, that'd be cool. So noon on Wednesdays? Okay. So I have 2 votes for noon on Wednesdays. Anybody else good for Wednesday? For Q&A with the Hombre, and we'll promote it on the Hombre channel, so we get all those people that like the Q&As coming over for it. Okay, Jan says it works for him. Okay, perfect. All right, guys, we'll do Wednesday Q&A with the Hombres on Wednesdays at noon. Not starting tomorrow, because we're gonna have a live stream on Thursday, so I don't want to. Because otherwise we'd be today, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So let's just do tomorrow. We have off, and we'll start Wednesday's Q&As next week, and we'll do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday live streams here, and we'll put other content up on the other days and stuff. And I'm going to start diving more into cigars for those of you that are cigar smokers. So we'll get some more of that content up as well, and we'll start getting into more things about cooking and processes and stuff like that for beer, for wine, for tequila. We'll get into all that stuff. So we'll have some good content here for people to really get into here. All right, well, that's it for tonight from the Hombre Cave. You guys, thank you so much for coming by and watching, and thank you for clicking that thumbs up button and giving me a like. I appreciate you guys, I really do. And like I always say, life is too short to drink bad tequila, so keep coming here, keep asking questions, keep learning, and you'll have the power you need to make great choices when you go to the store to pick up your next bottle of tequila or wine or beer or whatever. All right, guys, or cigar. All right.